horizontally backwards behind him, and he's actually a turtle, is more what I'm seeing here. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it, can you? Like, is a little turtle flipper things moving the mouse? Oh, no, wait, there's...
Never mind. The dream is dead.
I would like it if he had to move it with his, like, little beak thing as well. But here, for the Hunter, this is most assuredly not the hand you're looking for against these decks, where you want to get rolling and nice and quick with those eggs, make the Devil Saws, make the cubes, spawn a whole bunch of giant minions, and attack your opponent as quick as you can. This hand doesn't do that.
However, Brazil's hand is looking pretty interesting. As we can see from the Binding Heal in the hand, they've gone for the Topsy-Turvy Priest that runs 2 copies of Test Subject.
Yep.
The idea behind that, for anyone that doesn't know, is you can play 1 Test Subject onto the board outright. You can Powered Shield it. If it dies, you get the Powered Shield back. You can go further. You can Vivid Nightmare the Test Subject, and then when they both die, they each give you a Vivid Nightmare, and they each give you a Powered Shield back. You can run into hand size issues there. It's very difficult to pull off effectively, but it certainly does ramp up the card draw.
And hand size issues really are the bane of this deck.
Yes.
You always run into hand size issues, because if there was no hand size in Hearthstone, you'd say brilliant. You'd just go for Twilight's Call, Shadow Vision's Twilight's Call, draw like 5 cards a turn, just destroy your opponent, draw through your whole deck by turn 9 every single time, and just laugh all the way to the bank. However, this is not the case. You have to be very careful with your drawing, as, lest, like you said, you overdraw.
Well, it's really interesting now because Raze just has a good start, and Omega Zero does not have a good start. Raze has the 2-1 Dead Ringer, which Omega Zero might decide not to kill, as Raze then curves into whatever Death Rattle he draws.
Yeah.
Then Twilight's Call. It's looking good.
I mean, we'll very possibly see Twilight's Call just for 1 minion, right?
Well, he might not be able to. Yeah, China's just not going to kill it, because the damage Brazil deals you before the combo just doesn't matter. So China is just happy to let the Dead Ringer hit the face and not draw Death Rattle minions.
And so now you go for the Pyromancer instead of Powered Shielding this minion, because you can sacrifice it off through the effect of Powered Shield for once you're happy that Pyromancer is killing your own minions.
And this is a win-win scenario for Raze. If the Dead Ringer draws him one of the test subjects, fine. Next turn, test subject, Powered Shield, Powered Shield. Yeah. You're cycling so many cards through the deck then, that when Twilight's Call brings the test subject back, you can Powered Shield it again. Which, at that point, you're definitely running into hand size issues. So maybe it's not as smooth as that, but really, this game is going Brazil's way so far. Yeah,
just very, very heavily, right? As long as their card draw doesn't completely die, which, you know, admittedly, I haven't played this deck since the expansion, right at the start of the expansion, when it was kind of all the craze after Dog was streaming it. But I found when you get down to about 10 cards left in deck, your card draw can very much peter out if you're not careful, and then you're just drawing 1 card a turn. It's no longer quick enough, and you don't get the combo quickly enough before you die.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends to an extent just quite how good the opening is. Like, the fact that, you know, it's going to be a turn 4 or 5 Twilight's Call to draw 2 cards, and again, like, if drawn, test subjects can draw a lot of cards here. I don't see Brazil struggling with card draw this game.
Me neither. Like you said, any Death Rattle card draw minion being found, which, what, 3 out of 4 times gets a card draw, sorry, 3 out of 5 times, this Dead Ringer gets either Thalnos or Loot Hoarder instead of a test subject. And they're relying on that card draw from the Loot Hoarder, which they draw. They can now go Loot Hoarder Powered Shield. Maybe they don't even do that because they want it to die.
Oh, they are going to do that, okay. I didn't think they were going to do that either, because exactly, like, the sooner it dies, the sooner Twilight's Call, draws 2 more cards.
But then what happens? If your opponent doesn't develop anything for the next few turns, and therefore you can't sacrifice it in, brilliant. The Death Rattle Hunter isn't doing anything, and you just win later on.
Or you just win by hitting Loot Hoarder into the face 15 times.
Oh, so that's how you win with this deck. I knew the combo wasn't real. I go for it every time, and I burn Topsy-Turvy. It wasn't a real deck, I knew it. It's just Loot Hoarder smacking him in the face.
Yep. And I wonder what percentage of the time this deck wins that way. It's got to be like 1% or less, right?
Well, it's got to be way less than 1%. Like, the deck doesn't do anything. It's, you deliberately kill off your own minions the majority of the time just so you can draw with them.
Yeah.
There is no pressure in this deck. Like, you sometimes see on Twitter people post, I won Quest Rogue without even completing the quest, lol, or something like that. I think Sippy tweeted that out recently. But this is a whole different beast.
Yeah.
This is even more useless when you don't, in quotation marks, complete the quest by doing the full combo.
It looked like Raze was just laughing at what you were saying there. Just laughed as you said how useless the deck was.
just for full disclosure, he couldn't hear me. He cannot hear the casters, nor am I loud enough to be heard in Brazil, I don't think.
No, you're not.
Maybe he's just got very muscly turtle ears. Best listening of all the sea creatures. Not many people know that.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that a Darek fact?
That's a Darek fact.
We've got Gaskin facts.
You'd think from the fact that they have no ears, they wouldn't be able to hear very well. Common misconception, actually. Excellent hearing.
Oh man, Omega Zero's hand is just a whole load of nothing until turn 8.
Yep. You play the Katharina and you hope that that wins you the game. Like, Witchwood Grizzly is a 3-attack minion, which at least protects you. I mean, again, the damage does not matter at all. It's just you're trying to beat up your opponent with this. If China finds a cube on the next turn and they go for cube play dead on this Grizzly, at least from where they're sat, that's at least a little bit of pressure, right? Mm-hmm. We can see Psychic Scream would take that out of the way. But if Psychic Scream deals with a Grizzly board, then it doesn't deal with a Katharina board.
That's true. Yeah. There is still the potential of some pressure somewhere in Omega Zero's deck. Meanwhile, the bad news for Raze is if you try to count combo pieces right now, you need 7. He has 1, and that's the Stone Tusk Boar.
He does.
Obviously, Shadow Visions is potentially another one.
Yeah,
he's
got Visions, he's got Twilight's Call to draw now.
And yeah,
he is then running into hand size issues quite quickly, right? As this draws a Blood Mage Thalnos, he's now got 2 test subjects and 1 Loot Hoarder left in the deck, right, in terms of death rattles. So if he goes Twilight's Call with a Wild Pyromancer, say, he is guaranteed to draw at least 2 cards off of that. With 8 cards in hand, he would not overdraw in that scenario. So, you know, you could consider Pyro into Twilight's Call for controlled draw, but actually, with this many cheap spells in hand, you probably want to keep back the Wild Pyro, right? Because maybe it can clear up a board of ragtag minions from your opponent.
Yeah, now he's got Thalnos as well. I don't believe we've seen a Spirit Lash yet, so that's going to be something on Brazil's mind. Like, minds wanting to get a good Spirit Lash to heal themselves up later.
So I don't even want to play the Twilight School here. I guess they can clear up a lot of minions on the board while still keeping up with the draw.
The Loot Horde is bad, though. That Dead Ringer is now ever so slightly worse. The Dead Ringers, which are quite likely to come back from Twilight's Call, given that, what, 3 of them have died now?
I think.
Oh, it's just the 2.
Right?
It's
Yeah,
just the one that was revived, yeah, of course.
But, you know, it's not bad drawing a test subject. You would rather draw the Loot Hoarder, I guess, but it still thins a card from your deck, gets you that little bit closer to the combo. And for Brazil, the first test subject isn't even necessarily a combo piece, right? Like you said, they could just go test subject binding heal if they're in a bind. And then just try and let that tide them through. As China do find the cube that I was talking about, this is what they need to actually start pulling this back. This is pressure.
Because now Brazil may feel as though they have to play the Psychic Scream this turn, and if they do, Katharina on turn 8 into King Crush is going to cause an issue.
If they do play Psychic Scream on this turn, I will call the Blizzard police, as it were.
Oh, sorry, we're a turn early. Let's rewind or fast forward, whichever way it is.
As yet another combo piece being found. What do they got now? It's just... There's only 2 pieces, right? They only have Stone Tusk and Divine Spirit. That's not a lot of combo. Which is fine, because you don't want the combo at the start of the game, right? You want to draw into it after you've drawn your draw cards, which Brazil have done.
There's test subject number 1, another Death Rattle not drawn by Dead Ringer. But I guess if Raze kills off this Thalnos and test subject first, then the chances of it being 2 Dead Ringers are pretty low from Twilight's Call.
I think he's probably going to be digging for another Psychic Scream in this scenario,
Looks
right?
good to me.
I mean, you've got Spirit Lash Thalnos, which is a big heal.
Psychic Scream's
but
just
Psychic Scream is so good, yeah. It's just exactly what you want. You said it at the start.
We said it at the start of this game, is that Hunter is particularly weak to Psychic Scream. It's the only AoE, I think, that it's that weak to.
Banish also does a pretty good job,
sure.
right?
Okay.
They can play it all again next turn, which if they have key minions like Shaw or Katharina, can be somewhat scary, or King Crush even, God forbid. But against this deck, in this matchup, Psychic Scream is the best. It's what you're looking for every time, like you said.
Got 2 loot hoarders from the Twilight's cool. That's really good. Right, I'm going to do a combo check now. We have Boar, we have Divine Spirit, we have Test Subject, we have Topsy-Turvy. That's 4 out of 7. The only 3 cards that are missing are the Radiance and the Vivid Nightmares.
But for China, with their full-on Smork plan here, they're maybe just closing in on lethal, right? They can be, Brazil can Psychic Scream this turn. Katharina is slammed onto the board. Maybe King Crush comes down, hits their opponent for 8. They have the Candle Shot as well. That's very scary for Race.
Only if it's King Crush, though. If it's any other minion from Katharina, and bearing in mind, this Psychic Scream is about to shuffle two Witchwood Grizzlies back into the deck.
That's true. Okay, so it would be 2 Grizzlies plus the one that's in the deck, so that's 3 Grizzlies that can be pulled.
Yeah.
1 High Main and King Crush. So it's a 1 in 5 to pull Crush.
Right.
So they're probably pretty safe.
Meanwhile, Brazil just drew a Vivid Nightmare, which means they need either 1 more Vivid Nightmare and 1 Radiant, or 2 more Radiants. And
is that it?
And that's all they need, yeah.
Wow. Well, they got through that quick, right? They went from having nothing a couple turns ago to having the full combo. Almost, like you said, 2 draws away now.
That's how I found the easiest way to work it out. For anyone interested in playing this deck, there are 7 combo pieces needed. I just count how many pieces in the hand go towards the combo. There's 5 right now.
And there it is. No real option other than Psychic Scream on this turn. If you heal up for, 10 damage with Thalnos Lash, you take the damage again next turn.
Ooh.
Maybe they don't have the refill here.
Now it's 1 in 4.
Here, straight up 1 in 4, we believe, to summon King Crush from the deck. That does not look like it's it. That is the best scenario for Brazil.
Yep, Brazil can now just Psychic Scream this away again. That's another piece. They are missing 1 card, and it can be Radiant or Vivid Nightmare. It doesn't matter which. Yeah. Either of those cards will allow Race to complete the combo next turn.
So 2 draws out of 9 every single turn from here on in.
They have a kind of an awkward hand size issue. I guess they could play a cheap Shadow Word Death once Radiants have been played, which would help a little bit if there's a big minion on China's side of the board. It shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, they're trying to find any other play that isn't Psychic Scream on this turn, because maybe they get crushed from hand next turn, right? And then that's, 2 damage off dying?
There's just no...
But they just have to.
You can't risk destroying the Katharina and then having that summon Psychic Scream. Like something like a Shadow Word Death could be a disaster. If it's High Main or King Crush, actually. Reyes can't play anything else. I'd love to have played that Thalnos Spirit Lash at some point before he goes off with the combo. Maybe next turn will be his opportunity, as that play dead does nothing right now.
No, it does not do it.
So it's just going to be Witchwood Grizzly, I guess.
It's annoying you can't put a timer on that Spider Bomb to like destroy the first minion that comes down instead and blow up the Radiant.
That's called a secret. Or King Dread.
Oh, yeah.
We're not going to have...
If we had another Swamp King Dread game, oh my god, I would absolutely lose my head.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a good save. So now for Omega Zero, he needs to think, what else can he do other than playing Witchwood Grizzly, right? If he goes for Spider Bomb, does that make it difficult in any way for his opponent? You don't care about what's on your opponent's side of the board, right? You just do the combo.
Yep. It just doesn't matter.
At this point, China's win condition is King Crush off the top, if Brazil don't find a way to deal with this and heal up, or it's hoping that Brazil mess up the combo, which they now potentially have, right?
Yeah.
Do they have enough mana to go for it? They have to fit in.
They don't have the mana.
Don't have enough mana.
Even if they go Radiant first, Shadow Visions and get it, they don't have the mana. They need 9 mana for that, or even 10, I think. Starting with that. But this is fine.
Yeah, you just fill up, you remove some cards from your hand, right? Heal up for a very respectable 4. Even King Dread, Swamp King Dread, King Crush off the top here does not close out the game for China.
All right, well, they've got it.
Vivid Nightmare. That's the combo, and you kind of got to take it, right? No real consideration for...
No, I don't think so. Now, next turn, Brazil, and you can see Race getting hyped up for this. This is lethal. 1 Stone to Spore, 1 Divine Spirit, 1 Test Subject, 1 Topsy-Turvy, 2 Vivid Nightmares,
it's all there.
Radiant Elemental. That's a 9-mana combo with infinite damage. Can Raze do it fast enough? We've seen RDU do it this week, or last week even, in the Hearthstone Global Games. Now it's going to be Race's turn. Omega Zero did just draw Giggling Inventor. That's a card that can... Wait, with Spider Bomb.
Oh my... Difference, right?
Oh.
What is...
Well, if he magnetized the Spider Bomb onto an Annoyatron, then it destroys the arena, but he didn't do it. If he magnetized it... Then...
That was the combo, right? Because then maybe you kill off a Radiant.
Yeah.
They should then still be able to play around that, shouldn't they?
Or ball.
You can make more Radiants.
Yeah, but if it kills off the one ball, but you play around that.
But even then, like, well, that could have been Omega Zero's out, because that is difficult for Raze to deal with. Even if there is still lethal, this is a tough combo to pull off. And again, Raze is going for it here, because this is still lethal. If he can get through all these taunts, which is doable,
it's not even that difficult, I would say, because part of not making your hand too big is duplicating the boars with the early Vivid Nightmares. You get 1/1 boars, which you just pop into the Divine Shield.
Yeah. And he's doing it right, isn't he? Like, he's clearing hand space with boar.
Yes.
He's playing it out. He'll be attacking through it. This is all correct so far. Everything he's doing looks pretty good to me. Clearing hand space here with the Divine Spirits as well, because he will still get more
and as I
from
said,
the test subject.
They play the early Vivid Nightmares to duplicate the ball. That's going to pop a Divine Shield.
Making sure there's no hand space issues, all still correct.
And the rope is a little bit misleading here, because the animation's a little bit behind as we're watching from China's side. As you can see, Raze is already celebrating. He has finished it already. He thinks that we've already seen it, but now let's just sit back and enjoy the Stone Tusk Ball fireworks.
Basking in the glory. That's not a phrase I thought we would ever hear in Hearthstone back in my vanilla Hearthstone days when Stone Tusk Ball was like the worst card.
Stone Tusk Ball fireworks?
Stone Tusk Ball fireworks. Here, as, I don't know, he calls his mum and says, hey mum, come watch this.
It's impressive again. As far as I'm aware, the second player to do this in competitive Hearthstone tournament. His mum's sticking around to watch. I love it.
As he says, no, trust me, this is really cool. It may look really lame, but this is really cool. As he does do it, delivers the lethal. Brazil are 5-0.
They are.
In the Hearthstone Global game.
And again, China would have been, Brazil would have been able to play around the Spider Bomb magnetized, but it does feel like a pretty big mistake for China to not magnetize that Spider Bomb, which would have just raised the margin for error on Brazil.
Yeah, and are we even certain they could have played around that right? They could have maybe made another Radiant with just like wasting cards. I think they probably could have.
Well, yeah, they make an extra Radiant, they make an extra
test subject.
The test subject, I think, is a little bit more awkward, but like
if it dies off early, then they have no more test